afternoon if you're rewatching this back because you're having a lie-in on this lovely Sunday morning. I'm here with the lovely Simon, and we are discussing something that's pretty big coming up in Mountain Mowbray um, within the next couple of weeks. Would you agree with that, Simon, that this is pretty big what we're talking about today?
Yeah, well, this isn't big. This is going to be massive. So, this is a continuation of what happened down in London. Mountain Mowbray, as you well know, Kelly, rural capital of food. It's only right that we have a bit of a gathering in support of farming in Mountain Mowbray, isn't it?
Agreed. So talk us through how this gathering has kind of come about then.
This gathering, well, it all started with with Rachel Reeves. It's mainly her fault that we're all together. She released the budget, as we all well know, where it was quite the attack on farming and all sort of farming practices. So as soon as that was announced, there was talk by the NFU of a mass rally down in London.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot about the NFU's reaction to it, and we'll touch on that a bit more in a minute.
Yeah, so as I say, the NFU started a mass rally, and numbers were building. At this time, I was sort of decided that I got in touch with a few friends and decided we'll make our way down there together. This sort of snowballed, and me being who I am, I decided to take on the mantle of getting as many down there as possible. And 3 buses later, with 155 that were on there, yeah, don't get me wrong, it wasn't plain sailing down there. The M1 was shut down to 2 lanes, and there was then the drivers, because they're on a tacker, they had to have a rest break because of all the the time sat in traffic jams. But we got there on time. We made our voices heard, and to be honest, we had a good day as well.
Yeah, because we'll touch on the London one before we go into the NFU stuff. Because I know watching it online and be it through the press, for me, it didn't matter if it was a left wing piece of journalism, right wing, or a neutral piece. But everybody seemed to be covering the protest, and the fact that there were literally thousands of attendees coming, which I thought was absolutely huge, and just goes to testament just how much this is going to be affecting people.
At the end of the day, I mean, with regards to what's coming out from the budget, this doesn't affect just farmers. This affects everyone. Kelly, you like to eat. I like to eat.
I do like to eat.
Yeah. So that's the thing. We're all affected by this budget, and therefore we all need to stand up and be counted. Because you might not be connected to agriculture, but you are connected to food.
Because this is what I was going to ask you. Because obviously, and I was obviously going through and I was researching people's attitudes towards the budget as a whole in preparation for this video. And a lot of the pro-Labour argument is that, you've not really got to worry about it until you get past that 1 million threshold. Now, for the uneducated, non-agricultural eye, £1 million sounds like a good sized farm with fairly well-paid farmers on the back of it. In reality, for the uneducated, untrained eye that's reading this, what does £1 million actually look like as far as your standard farm is concerned?
Well, £1 million, if you ask most farmers, it wouldn't even get you out the back of the farmyard. You're talking buildings that will cost £100,000 plus £100,000 a very basic building as well. But you're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds just for buildings, a tractor costing a couple of £100,000, a combine costing 500,000. That's sort of where I sort of specialise. But if you look at a dairy farm, you put a new parlour in, that's £500,000. A dairy cow, you can be spending anything from £1,200 to £4,000. £1 million sounds an incredibly big number, but at the end of the day, it doesn't get very far. And the other thing as well is, I can talking personally, my farm pays, in terms of a wage that I take out of the farm, I'm on about £22,000, which, if you
That's
compare,
barely minimum wage, just slightly over minimum wage now with the minimum wage going up, if my math is right.
exactly. And the other thing as well is the amount that the farm is worth compared to the amount that I'm taking out as a wage, it works out at less than 0.5%. So the government introducing this inheritance tax and saying, being ever so kind and offering the £1 million threshold, how on earth am I going to be able to pay my inheritance tax bill when all I'm doing is taking £20,000, £22,000 out?
It's a good, it's a bit of a difference, isn't it? Because you wouldn't imagine that sort of thing if it was another 22K job.
That's it. We haven't got a problem paying tax. No farmer has a problem paying tax. We pay all the forms of tax in terms of income tax. We pay council tax. We pay every form of tax going. However, the inheritance tax will kill family farms.
Which I guess is why you guys are doing the demonstration on the 9th of December. Before we go into a little bit of more information about that, there have been reports that Labour are planning to do a £5 billion investment into the farming and agricultural sector across the next 2 years. Is that enough to shoulder the brunt to the damage, or is it merely sticking a sticky plaster in a boat full of holes that this inheritance bill will blow open, so to speak?
But it wasn't just inheritance tax that the government announced in terms of the agricultural industry. Obviously, we've had the increase in minimum wage. We've had the increase in national insurance. So these are all, these are all factors that need to be taken into account when budgeting. But then, unannounced, the government, the Friday following the budget, they said they we have something called a D-link payment, which is it's the last of the subsidies which we used to receive coming from the EU, and basically the maximum you can now get is 7,000, just under 8,000. So, talking on a personal level, I'm down £21,000 like that because of the government announcements. Now, this money, well, it would have been used to have paid my wages, but it would also have been used to be invested into the farms, which means that machinery salesman would have received the money. The fertilizer salesman would have, gotten the money. The thing with the farm business is, it's not just a farm that we're talking about. We're talking about all the connected industries.
Yeah.
So £5 billion from the government. I know they suggest that it's the biggest ever budget, but when you take into account the slashing of the D-link payments, they're not actually going to be spending as much. I do fear that this is a very calculated plan, and we're going to. Yes, I think it's a calculated plan where we're going to see further announcements in the next year or two. The other thing as well is last week they decided to pause the capital grant scheme without any warning. So it all seems to be falling into a bit of a plan. That might just me being a bit cynical, but that's my view.
And I guess the demonstration is you guys standing up to this, these decisions, this plan. So tell us a little bit more about that. So I know it's happening not this Monday, not tomorrow, but the Monday after, so the 9th of December. So talk to me a little bit about that and how that came to be.
So the 9th of December, basically it started off, we went down to London, we came back and we thought, well, what can we do? What's the next step? So in contact with a few friends, we had a few phone calls on the Thursday, started meeting on the Saturday, formed a committee on the Monday, and the first meet was the following Tuesday, and it's snowballed from there really. Um, there's a I've got a group now which is 250 people strong. We've got a committee organising, the December the 9th, which is at 11:30. We've got speakers, hopefully a large crowd. Car parking is all sorted at the cattle market. It will be an event that we need to be there, and
So,
everyone needs to support.
yeah, to talk to us a little bit about these speakers then, because I know when we spoke privately yesterday, these were speakers that you guys were really excited to be bringing to Melton for this
Yes.
demonstration.
So in terms of speakers, we've done incredibly well. We've managed to get Andrew Ward, who's a farmer from the Grantham Way, but he was one of the farming five that arranged London. Big YouTuber, multiple thousands of followers on YouTube. So we've got him. We've got Tom Lamb, again another farmer. This one based in Stamford, massive YouTuber. I think the last time I looked, I think it was 73,000 followers, which is nearly as much as you. Um, so he's worked very closely.
Am I nearly as much as Tom? That is the question.
So yeah, he's worked with Colin Furs, again a YouTuber, which I know we've all seen, creating wacky and wonderful sort of basements and tunnels and cars that do, you name it, he's done it. So we've got some incredibly big speakers. We've got Paul Towns, a local grain trader, and yeah, they're going to talk. We're all going to listen, cheer at the right time, and jobs are good. Let's, at the end of the day, we've got to make our voices heard. We've got to get it in the public eye, and that's what we're doing.
And I suppose that week that you guys are picking is a really good week as far as Melton is concerned, because it's coming on the back of the big council meeting that's coming up.
Yes.
For those of you guys who haven't seen the Mountain Times article yet, one of the big things that's been debated on Wednesday's full council meeting is what Melton Borough Council's response is going to be to the budget as far as agricultural, and how they plan to word that to national government. And obviously, at the moment, the Labour administration are saying they want a nuanced take that supports local farms and family farms, but still ensures that people that need to pay their taxes do. Whereas Labour, not Labour, Conservative are very much, this is going to affect all farmers, and we need to make that clear. As far as you guys are concerned, where do you want Melton Borough Council to kind of fall on this? Like, what do you want their response to be?
Well, first of all, the Midlands Farmers, we will be attending the council meeting. And I'm sure you know, I'm also a councillor, so I will be within the chamber. But there's Charlie Pitbrook is leading on a presence for the Midlands Farmers there. In terms of Mountain Borough Council's response, it's a simple one. It's a very, very simple one. Without hesitation, we should be backing farming. As I said before, Melton is the rural capital of food. It's steeped in history, Melton is, in the agricultural history. It was built on agriculture, and it doesn't matter that we have a Labour administration. They should be writing without even the need for a motion to be put forward by the Conservatives to explain that this budget is detrimental to farming, to the rural communities, and to Melton Mowbray.
That's brilliant. So we are just going to go to a couple of comments that have come up whilst we've been having our chat. So Steve Durham on Facebook, thank you, Steve, for getting in touch. Turns round and says that the hospitality industry fully supports the farmers with their protests and with their actions. because this goes back to what we were saying earlier, doesn't it? That this isn't just farming specific, but actually is going to hit the hospitality trade as well within that.
Yeah, well, Steve, I've not met Steve yet, but I've had a friend request from him on Facebook, and I'm sure we will meet fairly soon.
Yes,
But Steve well knows from the hospitality industry, they want the best ingredients.
they
And
do.
the best ingredients are grown in Britain. We grow things to a higher standard than the rest of the world. Animals are reared better than the rest of the world. We go through a lot more paperwork, but everything is done properly. Steve wants the best ingredients. Let's make sure that we can carry on providing them.
Agreed. So, if people want to come along to the demonstration on the 9th, what do they need to know that we haven't already covered?
Everyone in the marketplace, 11:30. We will kick off at 12 o'clock. Basically, be there, make your voices heard, and well behaved. No litter, and let's have a good show of support.
I can't imagine you guys with farmers would have littering issues anyway, to be fair. It's never really one I've been seeing on neighbourhood watch, I must admit.
No, well, as I say, the good thing with the farmer is we always know about hard work, so we'll tidy up after ourselves.
Brilliant. So thank you so much for taking your time out of what is a very busy day from what you said behind the scenes, and a very busy week as you're coming up to planning to have this chat today. So don't forget, folks, the demonstration is happening in the marketplace from 11:30 on the 9th of December. So if this is an issue that is something you guys care about and you can make it, please come along. I plan to take a couple of these old bad boys with me and my phone and speak to a few people there as well. So feel free to come and say hi to me. Feel free to come and say hi to Simon. Feel free to come and say hi to the rest of the team. And otherwise, it is goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me, and let's
Um,
let Mount Mowbray, be on the map on Monday, the 9th of December.
And we hope you have a brilliant rest of the weekend. Goodbye, everyone.